Welcome to our guide on hypothesis testing. This is one of the most fundamental concepts in statistics, allowing us to move beyond simple guessing and make data-driven decisions about the world around us. In this video, we will break down exactly how statisticians test claims and draw conclusions. So, what exactly is hypothesis testing? At its core, it is a method for testing a claim or hypothesis about a parameter in a population, using data measured in a sample. Think of it like a criminal trial. In a courtroom, a defendant is considered innocent until proven guilty. In statistics, we assume a specific status quo is true, and we only reject that assumption if we find overwhelming evidence against it. The first step is to define the null hypothesis, denoted as H0. This represents the status quo, or the assumption that there is no effect or no difference. It is the boring result. For example, if you are testing a new medicine, the null hypothesis would say the medicine has zero effect. We always assume the null hypothesis is true at the start of our test. Opposite to the null is the alternative hypothesis, denoted as HA or H1. This is the claim you are actually trying to find evidence for. It represents the change, the difference, or the effect. If your test provides enough evidence to discard the null hypothesis, you are left supporting the alternative. But how much evidence is enough? We set a standard called the significance level, denoted by the Greek letter alpha. This is usually set at 0.05 or 5%. It represents the probability of rejecting the null hypothesis when it is actually true. Think of it as the line in the sand. If our data falls into the extreme territory beyond this line, we consider it significant. To measure our evidence, we calculate a p-value. The p-value tells us the probability of seeing data this extreme if the null hypothesis were true. A very small p-value means your data is very surprising and unlikely to happen by random chance alone. It is a direct measure of the strength of your evidence against the null. Here is how we make the final decision. We compare our p-value to our alpha. If the p-value is lower than alpha, the results are statistically significant and we reject the null hypothesis. If the p-value is higher than alpha, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. A helpful phrase to remember is, if p is low, the null must go. No statistical test is perfect, and errors can happen. A type 1 error, or false positive, occurs when we reject a true null hypothesis. It is like convicting an innocent person. A type 2 error, or false negative, happens when we fail to reject a false null hypothesis. This is like letting a guilty person go free. We try to balance these risks when designing our test. Let's look at a concrete example. Imagine you suspect a coin is unfair and lands on heads too often. Your null hypothesis is that the probability of heads is 50%. You flip it 50 times and get 35 heads. After calculating, you find a p-value of 0.003. Since this is much lower than the standard 0.05 cutoff, you reject the null hypothesis. You have strong evidence the coin is biased. To wrap up, remember the logical flow. Always state your null and alternative hypotheses first. Choose your significance level, usually 5%. Collect your data and calculate the p-value. Finally, compare the p-value to your significance level to make your decision. This framework is used everywhere from science to business to validate new ideas.
If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.